Assalamu alaikum, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're in. This is Nasim Zehra. This is my YouTube channel. We are doing a series on security files. This is my first of the series. Let's start with looking at Pakistan's policy since the terror tragedy that struck 26 civilians in Pahalgam. They had gone on a picnic and a place about 90 kilometers south of Srinagar, Indian occupied Kashmir, and they were attacked there by terrorists, and there were many more than 26, and 26 were killed. Pakistan's policy after this, let's first quickly go through what India's response was. Indian government and the Indian media screamed out loud and clear that Pakistan was behind it. There was no investigation, there was nothing that was looked at in terms of evidence, but within 3-4 minutes the announcement came that it was Pakistan, and the Indian officials and the media said, we're going to teach Pakistan a lesson. An old way of handling things, an old tragedy, a continuing tragedy in the face of Indian occupation of Jammu and Kashmir, an issue which sits in the UN Security Council. There is a resolution that was passed in 1948 that this is occupied territory and that there should be a plebiscite there, and subsequently after the nuclear tests India and Pakistan conducted in 1998, around August that year, July, August, resolution was UN Security Council Resolution 1172 was passed, calling on countries and the United Nations to ensure the solution of the Jammu and Kashmir outstanding problem, and there was acknowledgement that without the solution of that problem, there could be no lasting peace in the region. So here we are, the problem continues. What happened at Pahalgam was unfortunate, was tragic, and what followed was an established pattern. India basically asked the Pakistan High Commission to draw down some of the staff, reduce the staff. They said they actually pulled out of the Indus Water Treaty, which is a treaty signed in the 60s in terms of water sharing. That was the idea. Pakistan being lower riparian, water coming from India, and how the water was going to be shared, etc. The rules of the game were decided under the Indus Water Treaty, with World Bank basically responsible for arbitration in case any problems arose, and World Bank was underwrote that treaty with major global powers backing that treaty. So India decided that it was going to walk out of that treaty. We'll just come back to that treaty and India's intentions regarding that treaty, not today but even earlier on. So one was that, two was reducing staff, number three, a lot of warmongering and saying we're going to go into Azad Kashmir, Kashmir that lies across the LOC on the other side, and that we are going to attack Pakistan. Lots of saber rattling, lots of attacking statements, and one of the sitting MPs, Mr. Tiwari, said that we should decimate Pakistan, we should, this should be the end of Pakistan, and so on and so forth. Generally, the tone and tenor of Indian response, holding Pakistan responsible and saying that we're going to teach Pakistan a lesson. The Indus Water Treaty, pulling out from that is significant for a number of reasons. Fundamentally, because it deals with distribution of water and the management of water, shared water between Pakistan and India, and Pakistan rightly called it an act of war, pulling out from that, saying that the treaty has gone into abeyance. What is Pakistan's response? Pakistan's response was, in some ways, it was reciprocal, come down, pull down the number of staffs, drawing down of staff, including defense, Air Force attaches, etc., should leave the country within the next 4 or 5 days. In addition to that, Pakistan said no overflights, no Indian overflights, using Pakistan airspace. That was stopped. And the other important thing was that no transit rights and facilities to India any longer. So Pakistan is used as a transit for Afghan goods going into India from Torkham border to Wagah border, and vice versa from the Wagah border to Torkham border. I was checking, there are about 50-60 trucks a day that go on either side, so using Pakistan's roads, so the transit facilities henceforth stopped. So no overflights, no transit facility. And as far as the Indus Water Treaty is concerned, Pakistan has taken the matter to the World Bank, asking them for what this really means, this business of the treaty going into abeyance. Right now information is shared, designs of any dam that has to be constructed, it has to be cleared by both parties and so on. And we've seen there have been issues with this treaty. In fact, in 2022, first time we heard from the Prime Minister's office, his Minister of State, talking about rescinding the treaty and putting an end to this Indus Water Treaty. Then too there were issues. In fact, there were issues along the LOC and in Indian-occupied Kashmir. Subsequently, this threat was repeated, and then we had the Indian National Security Advisor actually chair meetings related to the Indus Water Treaty. And in Pakistan, in some circles, it was picked up and conveyed to the government that India means business when it's talking about withdrawing from the treaty or reviewing the treaty. And the fact that they said we need to discuss the treaty, we need to look at the arbitration clauses, etc. So India has been in the mood for the last 3 years, conveying regularly to Pakistan that it wants to sit down and review the treaty, and Pakistan has been writing back to say, what does this mean? So I think that's the issue on which we will see more response from Pakistan in the coming days. And Pakistan is already it's written to the World Bank and is talking to the United Nations and other relevant bodies in terms of what this means, and this is against law, etc. So that's one challenge for Pakistan. India's noise about coming and attacking Pakistan using military force, kinetic action, etc., crossing the LOC and then crossing and going further and then taking over Azad Kashmir, Kashmir lying on this side of the LOC. To that kind of chorus and warmongering stuff, Pakistan has responded very clearly. It has told Delhi's friends and common contacts in high places to convey to Delhi that Pakistan is more than prepared for a military attack should that happen, and that attack will receive an appropriate response from Pakistan, and that it's going to be worse than what happened